I mean, it is what it is. I'll just keep doing what I do, which is bring content to that. And I'll miss you, but hopefully you'll come visit me.
Are Matt and Beaver bad faith actors?
Um,
What?
I,
Sometimes.
I am not gonna, Othello, I'm gonna answer you honestly in the back channel. But, I can give you a clear answer for Matt. I have not seen bad faith movement from Matt. I will say that. Beaver's questionable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it just seems like Matt is always a step or two slow to do the right thing. You know, whenever we need some real moderation, some real fairness, um, he seems to lag behind. And then when it's time to do the right thing or to even handle situations like this, people being treated unfairly, you just get silenced. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's like in the back channels we have like this kind of like a mod like private chat. He struggles a lot with wanting to step in. It's kind of like the same with me. Like I have that same exact issue. I can't answer definitively, but I haven't seen anyway. I have not seen bad faith with him, but ultimately I know exactly what he's struggling with because sometimes it's like you have to manage the interpersonal relationships, and some of these characters are bigger characters. They bring more people to the room, and so you don't want to interfere with their management of their interpersonal relationships, but you also want to manage your room. So, and what's interesting though is he doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of the modding because he doesn't say that he does it, but I know that he's the one that's doing it. Like a lot of the time, like muting, it's actually no, it's usually Beaver or Matt that usually does that. When I mute, I usually talk, so I don't like sit silent. You know what I mean? But he's conflicted of that, and he mentions that he hates managing adults, but you know, I do understand.
So he does have a very definite hands-off approach for the majority of it. He's said before, I don't like to get in between, like Bima said, personal beings. But he'll hear me insult Pepe because I've insulted Pepe. But I don't start it. I'll make a contribution and Pepe can't stay off mute. So he's constantly interrupting me with his and sweet voice, and he's always harassing me. And then I defend myself, and then now it's me against Pepe, and he doesn't want to get involved. Whereas if Pepe had just left me the hell alone, there would have been peace in the room.
You know,
and I get tired. I get exhausted.
What's interesting is yesterday, he was talking about you, and I'm sad that Edie left because she could have maybe elaborated, because I don't remember everything. But basically the sentiment, because he started to talk about you, and I'm like, not too much about Monica. I said something like that. And then I was surprised at what he said next. And it was basically like him thinking in his mind that his trolling, he was explaining his troll and his troll of you, like that he doesn't understand the severity or the effect that it has on you. And he's not processing then everybody else's reaction to you because of his troll. Really, like, I was just like, is he that is he immature? I don't know, but the way that he communicated it to me, I was surprised that he was that like unthoughtful about it. Because he was like communicating it like it wasn't a big deal. Like it was, yeah, he trolls, he does this, and he trolls Monica, and he made fun of himself making fun of you. And then he said, like, not bad things about you. I don't know. I think he's just messed up in his head.
And I think you're too charitable. I think he uses me because there's people in there that enjoy me being used as content. They enjoy me being insulted and diminished and dehumanized. And what when a moderator does that, what they're telling everybody is, oh, Monica can be picked on. Monica can be vilified. Monica can be dehumanized and treated like an object. And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair either, and I'm happy that you set your boundaries. I wish that there was something else that I could do. I mean, I would never have him modded. He and I butt heads, you know. Like, I try to be respectful for Matt, so I don't go too hard on Pepe, but he pisses me off like 95% of the time. Like, it's cringe. Like, I can't. First of all, I hate him. I hope that nobody feels the way about me how I feel about him. Like, I honestly hate hearing him talk. I hate the way he communicates. I hate his cadence. I hate the way he stutters. The stutter. I just think, and then he says nothing after like 5 minutes of, or he says something racist, and it's like we sat through that torture for that, and then, I mean, I don't know. I honestly think that he's kind of being used for the clicks. I mean, I don't know. And then I don't want to make fun of people, but also because I think, like, what happens? What if he's just too stupid? What if he didn't have the proper upbringing and he needs to be? But then I don't like making fun of anybody, but also it's difficult to get along with him, Monica. It's difficult to be in a space with him. Yesterday I cursed at him. I was pissed. I couldn't even. I don't think Ella was there, but I was just like, shut the fuck up.
What was that conversation about? That he was disrespectful and yours?
Well, we were having a conversation, of course, about racism, and he was saying, using his typical, this percentage commits this percentage of the crime. And then I was just like, well, I was like, there are psychological theories. There are quite a few of them that explain, all the external elements. It's layered effects, external effects. This isn't like inherent to the person. And so he kept interrupting me to tell me that you're going down the wrong path. He always interrupts me to tell me I'm going down the wrong path, or I shouldn't question somebody. One time I was going back and forth with Abby, and he's just like, you're too stupid to litigate this. I'm just like, I'm asking questions, dude. Like, get out of the way, So I don't know. He doesn't like when I give my say, but I can understand that because I'm just like, you're a fucking racist and you're a horrible person. But then I don't know how much I believe of that. I don't know how much of I believe that. I believe that he's a racist, but I think at some point it becomes more of his identity, and then he has to continue to live that. I don't know. I feel bad for people like that, but then I can't feel bad. I'm conflicted. I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to give him space to talk because I don't want to. I definitely would never have him modded anywhere. Could I be honest with you? I'll be okay. Listen, if this gets back to Matt, that's fine. I've said to him multiple times, like, you make me sick to my stomach being on a stage with you. And I wonder, and I think to myself, how could I be on a stage with someone have I been desensitized by the cruelty and just just the disgusting behavior of people on Clubhouse that I can see. There is never in any other area of that I could ever tolerate something like that. And so I don't know. I question.
Bima, I will say that your presence on the stage is needed. You know what I mean? You're really doing the Lord's work. And when you speak out against that stuff, everybody receives it and feels it. So I think it does more good that you're on that stage to be the voice of reason and to really show how idiotic that content is. And if you weren't there, like, the room would just go to shit. It really needs a woman's touch. Not only that, it needs it needs grace, it needs humility, it needs someone that's a realist, someone that's bringing people back to like actual reality. And it's like they want to make it this Reddit 4chan reality, And so Pepe says all the time that he comes from that part of the internet, that like right wing manifesto, kind of like white supremacist Reddit Discord side, and he's building up his name because in this day and age, being racist gets you some clout. It always has. And so he's really riding off that. So, like I said, people like me, people like you, just reminding him that he's not really accomplishing anything, and he's really just a little man. He needs that, especially coming from a woman, because the men glaze him.
I appreciate that. No, I really appreciate that. I think that too sometimes, but yeah, don't think that I'm ever a day happy that I have to share a stage with Pepe. It disgusts me.
Well, the race troll isn't getting the reaction because people are just so fatigued that it's coming from him. He started a new troll where he's advocating rape. That's fun too.
Yeah, the old stuff wasn't working, right, Othello? He needs more shock value. Increase the vol.
From where he comes from, like that deep dark webs and that incelist behavior, like that's what they joke about. It's in line with who he is and where he comes from and what they represent and what a lot of them do. And so I look at this more as like a cry for help, and he's really just like exposing himself, and it's really dangerous to see him play around with that.
Do you know what's most frustrating, I think? The most frustrating thing for me is that you said it, he plays with it, where he pretends to be this racist character, but then he'll go back on his word to mitigate in real life hatred and contempt that can be built to go and to hurt somebody like him. So then he says, oh yeah, it's all a troll, it's all fake, this is what I do, this is what, you know what I mean? And it's like, dude, it's just a mess.
My theory is the people that come from this part of the internet, like they've opened Hell's Gates with the porn to the point where like regular sexual relations don't even stimulate them anymore. So they've gone so deep and deep and deep into the Pornhub and all these different things, 4chan, and the Reddit, and all these like debaucherous things that like now they're in this hellish existence where rape is like one of the only things that can get them off. So it's sickening to me.
I don't think he means it. I honestly, I don't think he does. I think he needs attention, and he clout chases, and he says outrageous things, so he'll get the attention he wants. And I'm just thinking now, between Pepe and Craig, which one does more damage to our society? Because Craig monetizes it. He's a businessman. He's got his Cash App and the Jumbotron. He allows people to pay to get people removed. He allows people to pay to stay and say who tried to remove them. He's made money off the app.
Yeah, Cray is satisfying a part of humanity that wants to watch Maury, that wants to watch Jerry Springer, that wanted to watch the people die at the Coliseum. You know what I mean? Like that. People understand that. That's why they created shows like Baddies. That's why they have all these people like at these reunion shows fighting each other on stage. And there's a part he's playing into that.
But so does Pepe. He just doesn't do it for money. You're right, you're completely right. It's bread and circuses, isn't it?
Well, and Pepe's pushing white supremacist agendas that he's picked up over time from being on the dark web. And
I don't think he does it. I don't think he's got a following for that. I don't think people look to him to be a leader in the alt-right, far-right, white supremacist, ethno-white nationalist stage. Bima, am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I think maybe yes. I don't know, because everybody knows that Pepe's a racist. Like, everybody knows, like, Pepe the racist. Those two things go hand in hand. But he tries to diversify his racism to make it, like, racist light. I don't know how to explain it. So,
he's found a way.
And I mean, like, he's not smart. He's, like, there are, dumber racists that have done it better. I think, I don't know.
He's found a way to like package it and make it digestible, and like go covert with it. But if you really listen to him, it all goes back to like that Hitler-esque kind of eugenics. You know what I mean? Bell curve, IQ, and they'll even get to the where like the sub-Saharan African, quote unquote, have a smaller brain. You know what I mean? Like there's these things that these people push to justify genocide, and so it doesn't. I recognize it for what it is because if you listen to him go into the peak of his conversation, it always goes back to that. You know what I mean? Like genes and IQ and who got the better genes and things like that. So you really gotta see what's going on here.
Valentine pointed out a hilarious oxymoron. I said diversified racism. That's pretty funny, Valentine. Thanks for catching that. I had to even process that, even though I said it. But another thing, I think this probably can explain away the majority of the Pepe, how can we say, the Pepe effect, and that is, and it's going to be a little harsh, but I think Pepe isn't super intelligent, right? He's borderline. Also, he has speech issues, which make it very difficult to want to sit through listening to him. Like and for anybody that has a stutter, God forgive me, but we're on a social media app, so I'm just being honest. Everybody knows if you talk too long, if you blabber, if you stutter, it's difficult, right? Because we're purely listening, okay? So the fact that he has like this stutter, and I think most people pushed him around because nobody wants to listen to a normie comment that is not particularly special or remarkable in any way, and we have to listen through the stutter, and we have to listen through the torture of him getting it out and communicating it. So the fact that maybe he puts in a little bit of spice, aka racist remarks, people are more tolerant to want to sit and, oh, what is he going to say? Pepe's talking. Let's hear the crazy racist shit that's going to come out of his mouth. And we're more inclined to not cut him off, shut him up, move him down, kick him out. Maybe we could convince Pepe that his next big gathering or following can be by him renouncing racism.
Can you imagine? I don't think he could hold that up. But I really don't think he's racist as much as like I could go for race realist, which is unpopular. But I don't think racist. I think he just does it for the troll and the attention. So well, we probably should go to first principles. What is a racist? A racist classical definition is one who harbors a belief that one race is superior or inferior to another. And then there's institutional racism. There's also racism that's active. People who actively go out of their way to hurt people because they are of the race that they don't like, that they hate. And and if we allow people bigotries, and we have to allow them because we can't stop them. Like I believe that 60 to 80% of the black population on Clubhouse are racist, and that might be low.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
60 to 80% of the black Americans on Clubhouse are racist.
I can't support that.
You don't have to. We disagree all the time, honey. You can absolutely not believe it. Well, there are some people that believe black people can't be racist at all because they don't have institutional power. And I don't agree with that. And there are some people that believe all white people are racist because they're white. And I don't agree with that either.
So I think when people say like, black people can't be racist, it's kind of like if you had, I know this is a dumb example, but I'm a dumb person, so.
No, we wouldn't do that.
When
you're dumb.
If you had, you know, pink shirts and purple shirts at work, and the purple shirts constantly oppressed, violated, just did horrible things to the pink shirts. The purple shirts are always doing something to the pink shirts. There's going to be, obviously, an in-room pink shirt preference against the purple shirts. It's going to be natural. It's a protective mechanism. It is letting everybody know, look, the purple shirts are dangerous. Yeah, we hate the purple shirts. But the difference is the origin of the intent. And I think that's why people say that black people can't be racist. I don't think a lot of it is racism. I think a lot of it is a prejudice, a racial prejudice to protect, our in-group.
Valentin, is this a new account? Or are you new to us? Because I knew a Valentin.
I don't know. I've been there before, but I come back every 6 months or so, and then I leave, and then you never see me again. So it's not a new account, but I'm a dilettante. How are you?
A dilettante. So, would you come and visit Godsmash before or no?
I wouldn't remember.
Okay, that's fine. Welcome anyway. This is the social that we do. I just realized I opened this in Political Playhouse. I did not mean to do that. I meant to do it in the hallway. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, well, anyway, welcome. Glad you could find us. Um, Jen did a really interesting study a couple years ago. She would ask people the question, did your parents make you racist? Or teach you to be racist? I think that's the impeccable way. And I said, no. And she said, yeah. And then she would ask people how they identify, and she would mark their race along with their answer to get like a little snapshot of social media. I think she had like 36 people on Clubhouse she was asking, and she'd ask in the real world too. But I thought that was a great framing of the question because it removed, it clarified that most people don't grow up in race-based, bigoted race-prejudiced homes.
Well, I'm gonna push back on that a little bit. You don't have to so much coming from the historical perspective of the uniqueness of the U.S. Sorry, have a different setup. So today, parents that don't say anything, they don't have to be bigoted, but they're not inclusive. And that for me, that is, if you're not actively dismantling systemic racism or like every day, then just saying, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm just not adding to it. Well, you're not fixing it, and you're not helping anything. And by not speaking out against something that's bad, what do they say? Evil people, what evil prevails when good people sit by and do nothing. So I think the biggest issue is that, yeah, people have grown up in homes where they were not taught how to identify racism, how to not be, or how to be inclusive. I mean, like my mother, my mother and father were different, but my mother was, she started at a very young age for me, and God bless her. That's the one thing that my mom, is the one thing that my mom did right, right? No matter, I don't care who you love or who your friends are. Anybody that you love or your friends can come in all shapes and colors. She pushed that over and over and over and over, made me comfortable very young to have a very eclectic group of friends, and that made me so, and that just carried up without question to the point where when I started to learn about the true dynamics, where our innocence started to get lost in junior high, and we started to learn a little bit more because we could conceive a little bit more, right? And then we understood a little bit more. Then it was even difficult for me to understand how that could be a world that people are living in today. And I used to say, like, I would run around and say, like, I don't think that racism exists because I believed in my heart, like I knew that it wasn't coming from me. And I'm like, how could people really live like that, right? So, I mean,
Yo, what's up, my nigga? What's going on, my nigga?
what's up?
Hey, Summer.
So, my ultimate response is, I think that not saying anything is saying a lot, and it's contributing to.
So this is one of the things that we disagree about. I think if there's an injustice that happens, no matter who it happens to, if it's an injustice, we should all stand against that injustice. And that injustice is is a teenager standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, smiling uncomfortably in the face of a Native American who's banging a drum in his face so hard that he's blinking repeatedly. And a 13-second video clip airs of that, and people are calling for the death of the teenager because he's a white Christian male wearing a MAGA hat. And that all happened on Twitter in 2019. And that was a watershed moment for me because I was like, oh my gosh, there are people in our country that want people that look like me dead because they look like me.
I think though, like I said, I think that feedback loop, Monica, is what keeps getting missed, right?
Tell me more.
So it's the purple pink shirt thing. If the purple shirts did all that and continue, it's still. How are we as pink shirts gonna know who to trust as that are purple shirts? Oh, but purple shirts, we no longer do all these things. Well, I mean, how can we trust that?
But it
Look at the
wasn't the
history.
purple shirts that were calling for his death, not solely. It was pink and purple shirts calling for him to be put in this school with his classmates and the school set on fire. It was pink and purple shirts that said red hat first into the wood chipper. Kathy Griffin was calling for them to be doxxed. Another white woman was offering blowjobs for them to find out who the youngsters were.
So
That's a huge problem.
So can you just explain to me the circumstance again, because I just want to make sure I'm understanding it.
Nick Sandman was with his school group after the pro-life march in Washington, D.C. The group arranged to meet at the Lincoln Memorial for their bus ride home. So I, especially in the 13 second uncomfortable smile and seeing the death threats online, wanted to learn more. And I found the Facebook video. And what I saw was the Hebrew Israelites taunting the high schoolers, calling them incest babies, future school shooters. The one black student that was in the group telling him to get out, they're going to harvest your organs. And I saw them taunting the Native Americans too, telling them to come to Gad, that they should stop worshiping animals, that they should they should follow God and be a true believer. So
So
the
was
teenagers,
it was the Hebrew Israelites that were creating all the problems?
yeah.
Okay,
Emma,
yeah.
like, what do you know about that day? It was Martin Luther King weekend. It was after the pro-life march.
I only know what you. I feel like I vaguely remember it, but I don't want to. I mean, how long ago was it?
Oh, 7 years ago now, January of 2019.
I feel like I might have heard about it at the time,
Yeah.
but
So
I don't remember what you're telling me
I
right now.
I was on Twitter and I'm like the 13-second video. I'm like, wait, this is what they're mad at. Him smiling in the face of Nathan Phillips beating his drum. I'm like, where's the rest of the story? And I said, wait a minute, there's more here. Oh, you're a monster. If you don't agree that this is terrible, you're a monster. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's terrible or not. Where's the rest of the information? And then I found the video of the Hebrew Israelites. And then I saw Nathan Phillips. Well, okay, I saw the teenagers collect. The one of the teenagers says, "Hey, can we do a school cheer to distract the heckling from the Hebrew Israelites, the guardians, the chaperones said sure." So guy's doing his with his march. He throws his shirt off in January winter in Washington D.C. Does a cheer, and they're all like, "Woo!" all excited and distracted.